Hello, I'm Claire Smith and welcome to my channel. So today I've got a fragrance haul for you. I'd say over the last month and a half or so I've accumulated maybe 7 fragrances that I will be talking about in this video and a future video. All of these were ones that have been on my wants list for a while. They're all things that I've seen or heard other YouTubers talk about, and it's definitely a case of YouTube made me buy it. And also all 3 of these fragrances are completely blind purchases. And I would say I've been very lucky. They're all winners. So the first one is actually my first Lolita Lempicka. I've never tried a Lolita Lempicka perfume. If you're in the UK, you will never see one of those in the shop. I've never ever seen one in real life. I just see them on YouTube videos. They're like these mythical unicorns that no one's ever seen in real life, and you're not sure whether they actually exist or not. But I saw this and I just couldn't resist because it just has such good reviews. And it's Lolita Lempicka, and this is Elle, but it's the La Folie and the extrême eau de parfum version. So I actually thought this was Elle, which I'd seen the fragrantician Gabby talk about this one on her channel, and she described Elle as a coconutty kind of suntan scent almost. This one is Elle, but without the coconut and softer from what I've read. So I describe this fragrance as a warm yellow floral with a lot of amber, and there's also a bit of myrrh in there. So initially you get a lot of the ylang ylang. It's definitely ylang ylang is the most prominent note, and normally for me ylang ylang can be a massive problem. I'm really not the world's greatest fan of ylang ylang. Sometimes to me ylang ylang can come off as something that smells almost a bit like urine if it's too strong. In this perfume it isn't like that. It's more of a creamy ylang ylang. And that's fine by me. That's what I like from ylang ylang. Ylang ylang to me makes things smell tropical as well, which is something that's very good about ylang ylang. And it can also kind of have sort of a honeyed edge, or maybe a citrus kind of leaning edge, or sometimes it can smell more like jasmine. And I think really the fact that there's jasmine and there's mandarin and bergamot in this perfume already, the ylang ylang really brings out those kind of facets of this perfume and enhances them. I think this perfume is something that you could definitely get away with all year round. It does smell a little bit like sun cream, I admit, but it's deeper and richer than that. It's more, I think just because of that ylang ylang and the jasmine, it's really heady perfume. It feels really intoxicating. I think it's really quite a sexy perfume if you want to use that terminology of perfumes. And yeah, I think it's something that I've not smelt before. I think it feels kind of like a modern but also old school perfume. It's bridging that gap between more modern scents and older fragrances. I think it's a really interesting perfume. This fragrance also gives me kind of old school glamour vibes. I think really this perfume I'd rename something like Magic Spell. It just makes me think of some glammed up woman going to some huge event like a film premiere. I don't really know what's going on with Lolita Lempicka these days. I think because they've moved towards a vegan scent line and they've started making their own perfumes as opposed to this one which was made by Pacific Creations, I think that's just meant they've had to discontinue a lot of their fragrances because they can't make them in a vegan way. And also they've had to reformulate a lot of their fragrances. So we've seen that with the release of the original Perfume. And also I think they've just had to create new bottles because they don't own the copyright even for the bottles anymore. So I think it's just confused their core customers really, because those original fragrances were really, really loved, and people don't like it when you discontinue things they love. So I also just think that Lolita Lempicka have gone in a really good direction with their vegan fragrance line. I think that's something that fragrance houses need to be looking at. Lolita Lempicka are definitely offering something to the customer that many fragrance houses aren't. If you do find a bottle of Elle à la Folie, I would recommend picking it up. Really beautiful scent, really rich and creamy kind of ylang ylang. If you love ylang ylang, you'll probably love this one because it is really prominent. But yeah, if you're scared of ylang ylang, I would also say don't be scared of this fragrance. So that's Elle à la Folie. So the next fragrance is one from Balenciaga, and I must admit, Balenciaga is not a fragrance house I've explored much. I have tried Rosa Botanica, loved that one when it was out, but now that's impossible to find, at least in the UK. I also really liked Flora Botanica, but I don't own that one. But you know, that might be on my wants list for the future. And yeah, I've just been fascinated by the other scents really. I mean, they do have some very, very old scents in their back catalogue, but the one that grabbed me the most out of the other scents was this one. So this is Balenciaga Paris by Balenciaga. And this one was released in 2010. So I describe this fragrance as a kind of a watery feeling green violet fragrance with kind of a woody undertone to the violet. It feels very grown up, but it still feels very pretty. It feels very, very special occasion, this fragrance to me. I feel like this is something that you would wear at a wedding. I really wish that I'd known about this fragrance before I had my wedding. I'm pretty sure I would have gone with this one because it feels like something you would wear for a spring wedding. It just feels like that kind of floral burst you get at the beginning of spring with all the greenness and the slight dampness in the air. It's very classy, soft and feminine, this fragrance. It feels cool, calm and collected as well though, so I think this would really be a really great work fragrance too. I'd say it was really timeless, and it's really one of the most classy and elegant fragrances that I've ever smelled. I wouldn't say that this is a very old school chypre. It's definitely more of a modern chypre fragrance. It's very light on whatever makes chypres, so it's normally labdanum and oak moss. There's definitely not a lot of those components in this fragrance. The lasting power is virtually eternal. I have sprayed this on my skin, and it's something that you can almost shower through. It's something that will last the whole day on clothes, probably the whole week on clothes, which for a violet fragrance I think is good going. I don't think violet fragrances are normally quite so nuclear in their lasting power. But I would say the projection it's okay, but it's not gonna, you know, knock out a room or anything. And this fragrance really isn't that type of fragrance. It's really more classy, more elegant. It's something more intimate than that. But yeah, I think this one really is going to be something that I'm going to grow into more. I think as I get older, this is the type of fragrance that I'm leaning to. So yeah, I'm really pleased I picked this one up. And I love the bottle. Apparently Balenciaga based this fragrance bottle on the capes that they used to make, that kind of silhouette. So this is kind of supposed to be the woman wearing the cape. I don't know whether that's right or not, but that's what I heard. Balenciaga is another fragrance company that I don't know what's going on with. What is going on with Flora Botanica? Some people say it's discontinued. Some people say all Balenciaga fragrances have been discontinued. I thought it was just Rosa Botanica and perhaps this one that have been discontinued. I didn't realise that Flora Botanica had been discontinued as well. I just can't imagine why Balenciaga would discontinue their fragrances. From the ones that I've tried, which admittedly is only 3, I would say that they are a very, very good fragrance company. They have very interesting scents. They're very well blended. And I don't think they're crowd pleasing in the slightest, but I do think that they are something that people who appreciate perfume are going to really love. I think it's something that they're classic, but I think they're not unwilling to take a chance. There's something that is going to have good longevity in your fragrance collection. They're going to be things that you're going to revisit again and again. So yeah, if you haven't tried any Balenciaga fragrances, I would go out and try one. If you can find them anywhere, then go out and try them, because they are just so different to everything else that I've tried on the market right now. This one's a winner for me. This one is going to be in my long-term collection for sure. So that's Balenciaga Paris by Balenciaga. So the third fragrance is one that had a moment about a year ago. I can remember people talking about this one and saying how good it was, and they were comparing it to Olympia. And they were just saying that it was kind of a floral, woody fragrance with a kind of salty edge. And I just thought, yeah, that sounds like a bit of me. So I eventually picked it up, but I was trying to choose between Olympia by Paco Rabanne, Kenzo World Power, and this one. So this is CK Reveal. So this fragrance has now been discontinued, and it's just become quite a classic fragrance. I feel like a lot of people love this one, and a lot of people are very sad that this has been discontinued. So this fragrance was compared to Olympia, but I think Olympia for me is not something that I enjoy. I don't know what it is about Olympia, but there's something in there that is just not for me. I was debating between Kenzo World Power and this one. Kenzo World Power has a lot of cypress in it, and I've just really sort of realised through trying other fragrances that I'm not so keen on that cypress note. So I kind of stayed away from Kenzo World Power, and I got this one. So Calvin Klein Reveal to me opens with a lot of pepper. It's definitely reminds me a little bit of Gucci Rush in the opening. I don't know which particular note of this fragrance is reminding me of Gucci Rush. I don't know whether it's the vetiver or whether it's, I don't know, something else, maybe the pepper coming off as a bit like the coriander in Gucci Rush. I'm not sure, but I really got a massive Gucci Rush vibe from this fragrance, but only for the first couple of minutes. It then kind of transforms more into a more floral, kind of salty scent, and it dries down to be more of a musky, woody, salty scent. I think this has amazing longevity as well on my skin. I know that I've read that some people have said that it has poor longevity. I wouldn't say that was the case at all with me. I think it just perfectly gives me that vibe of that salty, windswept beach, really. I would say that this fragrance definitely strikes me as something that is unisex. I know that there's a male marketed version of this fragrance, but I don't think it's as highly regarded as the female marketed version. And I really do feel like men could get away with this one. So wear what you like, but I feel like this one, even though it's sweet, it's because that salty edge, it's definitely got a unisex feel to it. I love the bottle as well. It's just a crazy design with this kind of cube. So it sits like this, but then you take the lid off here. I think this is really good value as well. I think, you know, even full price, these are about 25 quid for 100 mils. So they're super, super cheap if you can find them. I'm really pleased that I picked this up. I've been wearing this non-stop for these last couple of weeks since I got it. I think I got it at the end of July or middle of July. And yeah, this has been my summertime fragrance for this year for sure. So that's Calvin Klein's Reveal. So that's the final fragrance in this haul. I will be filming another one very shortly. And I will also be filming my entire collection as a video shortly. So if you've enjoyed this video, please press the like button and please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on those other videos if you haven't done already. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!